Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the Unix operating system. So this course is under the program of MCA in 5th semester. So the today's topic is Introduction to the Unix system. Myself Rahul Yadav. So before discussing about the Unix system, we will discuss about the operating system. Okay, that means what is basic operating system is, and what are the types of the operating systems, and what are the functionalities of the different operating systems that they will provide. And after that, we will learn about the Unix operating system. Okay, so these are the basic topics that today we are going to discuss. So first of all, we will discuss about the operating systems. Okay, so so today we will discuss about the operating systems, classification of the operating systems, architecture of the operating systems, and after that introduction to the Unix, and what is the Linux, the structure of the Unix operating system, and the features of Unix. Okay, so one by one we will discuss each of the topics in today's lecture. So the first thing is what are the requirements before learning the particular topic, that you have the basic knowledge of the operating systems and you have some basic knowledge of the computer architecture, or we can say that the operating systems, that how the processes they can be executed, or what are the functionalities of the operating system. So these type of basic knowledge is essential for the students. Now why we are reading this topic actually? So the reason is that you will be able to understand that what is the various tasks that can be performed by the operating systems. The students will able to know how internally the operating system it will operates. Okay, and how the operating systems will handle the issues that will be generated by some process. Okay, now so after the completion of this topics, the students will be able to learn these some particular things that we have given here in the slides, like they will able to understand the subject related concepts. Okay, and the technologies, the tools and the products that will be going to be used for that particular system. Now so let's we will start our first topic, that is the what is the an operating system is. Okay, so if we look at the operating system is basically a program, or we can say it is a software that will manage the resources of the computer, like computer hardware, and the operating system will basically act as an intermediary between the computer and the computer hardware. Okay, so what is the basic purpose of the operating system is that the operating system will provide an environment to the user. Okay, and it will also executes the program for the user in some convenient and in the efficient manner. The operating system will also helps to manage the computer hardware, okay, and it will provide the mechanism to ensure the correct operation of the computer, okay. So these are the some of the basic functionalities of the operating systems, okay. So while we are going to design any operating system, so there are two things that will be kept into the mind, okay. The first thing is that they are convenient to use, okay. That means they are user friendly and they are easily handled by the user, those who are going to use that particular operating system. And the second thing is that the operating system will be efficient. That means they can perform the task in better manner and in less time, okay. So these are the some of the key points that will be keep in mind while designing an operating systems, okay. So the operating system will easily manage the resources of the computer systems like hardware, processor, RAM, hard disk, and other peripheral devices like some input devices or the output devices that will be connected to that particular computer systems, okay. So what actually the operating system will do, the operating system, it will basically isolate the users and the system application programs, okay, from the underlying architecture. Like the general operating system has the diagram, we have the user, and the user will communicate with the application programs, okay. And these application, and with the help of these application programs, the user can communicate with the operating system, and the operating system will basically act as an intermediary layer between the computer hardware and the user, okay. So what the operating system will do, it will control and coordinates, okay, with the hardware for the various users. So this is the basic purpose of the operating systems, or we can say that what the operating system will actually do. Now so these are some of the basic operating systems that we are used in our daily life, okay. So here we have the Windows 7, we have given some example of the operating system like Ubuntu, Solaris, and the Mac OS. So these are the some of the examples of the operating systems that we are used in our daily life. And here we have the general architecture of the operating system that is divided into the some layers, okay. So if we look at the diagram, we have at the topmost we have the user, and at the bottom of that diagram we have the hardware, okay. So if the user wants to communicate with the computer hardware, so what it has to do, it will access the hardwares and other things with the help of the application programs, okay. And so with the help of these application programs, the user can communicate with the hardware. So what it will do, it basically defines the way, okay, in which these resources are used to solve the computing problems, okay. So and after the application programs we have the operating system. So what the operating system will do, operating system, it will control and it will coordinates the use of the hardware, Okay, so how these hardwares they can be used by the various application programs and for various users. So what the operating system will do? The operating system basically it will provides the means for the proper use of the resources in the operation of the computer systems. Okay. Now we will move to the next slide. So here we have the architecture of the operating systems. Okay. So if we look at the architecture of the operating system, here we have users. After that we have shell or GUI, that is your graphical user interface. Then application programs, we have some system utilities, system call libraries, and after that we have the operating system kernel. So what is the shell, what is kernel? Okay, these things we will discuss in the later sections. So this is the basic architecture of the operating systems. Basically shell or GUI are used for the communication with the operating systems. Okay, and here the kernel is the main component of the operating systems. Okay. So actually or we can say that the kernel will directly interact with the hardware actually. Okay. Now next we have the Unix operating systems. Okay. Now so what the basic Unix operating system is? It is basically a multi-user and the multi-tasking operating systems. Okay, so if we look at the multi-user or the multitasking, the multi-user means that in case of the multi-user operating systems, more than one user, okay, they can use the particular operating systems at a particular time. Similarly, in the case of the multitasking operating systems, the multiple tasks can be executed parallelly or they can be executed at the same time by the computer systems. Okay, so the Unix will provide both the facilities of the multitasking and the multi-user. Now, the Unix operating system, it will also provide some features like stability, security, and portability. So these are the some of the features that can be provided by the Unix operating systems. Okay, so because of these features, it will become more popular. So how it will provide the security and the stability to the systems, it will maintain the privacy of the information for the users. Okay, the reason is that the Unix is a multi-user operating systems. Okay, so that means more than one user can access the files. Okay, so for that it has to offer some protection to the user information from the another user. Okay, so for that the Unix operating system is basically using a hierarchical structure. The hierarchical structure is just like your tree, as you have learned in the in the data structure. We have a data structure that is called as the tree, in which we have a root node, and these root node has some sub branches that is called as the siblings. Okay, so basically in the case of the Unix, it will use the hierarchical file structure. Okay, and because of that, this structure allowed to implement the file security system to the Unix operating system. Now, so as the security is provided, so it will provide either the password security, or it will provide the file security. Okay, so the password security is basically provided by assigning some passwords, and it will provide some login names to the individual users. Okay, and by that it will ensure that no one else can access to the work of the another user. Okay, as we have seen, the Unix operating system, it is a multi-user operating system. So the multiple users, they will be logged into a system at the same time. Okay, and they will execute multiple process. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to provide the isolation to each users. Okay, so how it will provide the isolation to each users? It will provide the isolation by assigning some passwords. And the second thing is that it will provide the file security. Okay, so it will provide the security at the file level and at the directory level. So how it will provide the security at the file level or the directory level? It classifies the access control on the files. Okay, and it will be classified into three categories, like user, groups, and other. Okay, so that means that particular service is provided to a particular user, or it will provide it to a group of persons, or it will be given an open access to all the users. Okay, and it will be provided by using some commands, that will be your read write. Okay, so how we can provide the access to the users by using these commands, these we will discuss in the later sections, that how we can use the shell to execute the commands in the Unix systems. Okay, so how it will give the permission? By using some privileged. Okay, and it can be given to some particular users, or it can be given to group of peoples, or it can be provided to some other persons. Okay, now if we say that the who is the group, what is the user, and what are the other persons, so basically user is the owner of the file. Okay, जिस particular person ने वो file create करी है, that is the user. Okay, and group means it has any number of members. Okay, like for example, if I have created some files, okay, so that means I am the user of that file, or I am the owner of the file. Okay, so I have all the permissions. Okay, now it depends on me to whom I will allow to access that particular file. So for example, if I had created the lecture notes for your particular class, so what I will do, I will create a group of persons, and I will share the same data to whole class. Okay, so that means only the students of your particular class, that means MCA 5th SEM, they will be uh, access the file, and the remaining other classes or sections, they don't have any privilege to access that particular files. Okay, and other means they are the members, they are neither the owners nor they are belong to some particular groups. Okay, these are the other persons. So in this way it will classify the systems. Okay, now so the basic task is performed by the kernel, and the kernel is responsible to keep the each process, and it will separate the users. Okay, and it will also provide the functionalities to access the system hardware, like your memory disk, CPU, and some other input output devices. Okay, now so how the Unix system came into the scenario. Before that, there is one more point, that the Unix system is basically divided into two parts. Okay, the first part will consist of the programs and the services, and the second part it will consist of the operating systems, which will support these programs and the services. Now, so the Unix operating system, they will be first created by the Bell Labs in the year 1969. Okay, and it will become quite popular in that period because it will running on the machines of varying processing powers. Okay, and they will provide a common execution environment to all the machines. Okay, so the first version of the Unix file system on the PDP-7, along with the few step utilities that will be given the name of the Unix. Okay, and in year 1973, the Unix operating system, it has been rewritten, and most of the code can be rewritten in the C language. Okay, okay, and because this particular language, it can be written in the high level languages, so because of that it will reduce the efforts. Okay, that will be required to port the code into the new machines. So if we have created some codes, okay, and you want to use that particular program or the code into the new machines, so they will require lot of efforts. Okay, so basically the codes will be machine dependent. So what the Unix has done, if we remember previously we have discussed, there is one feature that is called as the portability. So this is the feature, that means these codes that will be written in the Unix system, they will be machine independent actually. Okay, so they don't depend on the particular hardware and the software requirements. No. uh, there is one more. We have the Linux. So the Linux is basically the version of the Unix operating systems. Okay, and it was actually created by the Linus Torvalds. Okay, so in the year 1991, okay, uh, the Linus Torvalds, they will created the Linux operating system as the project actually. Okay, so the Linux software code is basically available free of cost over the internet, and the kernel version, it was released in year 1994, and today the most recent stable version is 2.6.9. Okay, so if you look at the Linux operating system, it will be basically divided into the parts, like we have the kernel, and the kernel is basically a software that will be used for managing the resources, okay, inside the operating systems. So the development of the Linux operating system, it will basically revolved around the central operating systems, like the kernel, okay, and it has some privileged executive that will manage the system resources, and these system resources, uh, they will interact directly with the computer hardware. Okay, so this is the general overview of the Linux operating systems. Now here we have the basic architecture of the Unix system. Okay, so if we look at the diagram here, the Unix system will basically consist of four components, and the components will be the kernel, okay, we have shell, we have command and utilities, that is also known as the programs or the system calls, okay, and there is one more, that is the application actually. Okay, so if we look at the diagram, here we have the hardware at the center of the diagram. Okay, and after that hardware, we have the kernel. So here the kernel is the basic part of the operating system, that interact directly with your hardware. Okay, and the kernel is also responsible for the isolation, okay, from the user programs and the program that will be independent of the hardwares. And because of this isolation and all the things, this will make the Unix system to execute on the different machines. The kernel will also provides the file systems. It will provide the CPU scheduling. It is also responsible for the memory management and the process management, that which particular process will execute first and which process will execute next. Okay, and all the other functionalities of the operating systems, these all can be managed by the kernel with the help of the system calls. Okay, now so basically the Unix operating system, it will be classified into kernel, and kernel is basically the operating system. Okay, after that we have shell. Okay, so shell is basically the command interpreter that will be used in the Unix operating systems. Okay, so whatever commands we are going to write, we want to execute, so what we will do that with the shell, inside the shell. Okay, so we can say that the shell is the editor, and the basically we will use vi editor for that. Okay, next we have application programs and utilities. So these are the utilities that will the basically Unix commands. Okay, so if we look at the application programs, like we have MS Words, we have the spreadsheets, the database management systems. Okay, so these all things, they can be required by your system for the interactive purpose. Okay, so the user, they may run any utilities or the application programs with the help of the shell. So if you look at the users can be classified into two types. First one is ordinary users, and the second one is the super users. Okay, so what are the ordinary users? So those users that will work only their own working directory. Okay, these type of users are basically known as the ordinary users, and the super users, they have the command on the entire systems, and they have the privilege that they can add the users and they can remove the users from them. Okay, now so one by one we will discuss each of the component of the Unix structure. That means what is the kernel, what is shell. Okay, so one by one we will discuss about them. Okay, so if you look at the shell, those basically the shell is the basically the outer layers that will interact with the kernels. Okay, and how it will interact with the kernel, by invoking some well defined set of the system calls. So these system calls, they will instruct the kernel to perform the various operations for the calling programs, and it will exchange the data between the kernel and the programs. Okay, so for that we have used some commands. Okay, so like we have who command, grep commands, okay, uh, list commands. So these are the commands that will be used by the uh, shells to communicate with the kernel. Okay, now next we have the features of the Unix operating systems, and what are the features that it will provide. So the first one is the multi-user systems. Okay, so if we talk about the multi-user systems, in the case of the multi-user systems, the same computer resources like hard disk, memory, okay, or other system resources, they can be accessed by the multiple users. Okay, and in the case of the multi-user systems, each user they will given a different terminals to operate them. Okay, and all the terminals, they will be connected to a main computer, and the resources of that main computer, it will be shared with the all the users. Okay, the second scenario is the multitasking capabilities. So what is the meaning of the multitasking? Multitasking means the single user, it can execute more than one process or one task or one job at the same time. Okay, so in case of the Unix operating system, this can be done by running one job at a time, and the other processes or the other jobs, they will be executing in the background. And how this can be done by the operating system? This is managed by dividing the CPU time between the processes. Okay, it will divide the CPU time between all the processes that will be executing at the same time. Now, the third point is the communication. So, what the communication means? The communication will be basically within the network of a single computer, or that communication will take place between two or more computers in a network. Okay, so with the help of the Unix operating systems, the user can exchange the mails, the data, the programs over the network. Okay, so if two users have some different locations, okay, so they can easily communicate with each other, or they can easily exchange the message or information between them. Okay, so that means the distance will not impose any barrier on the communication of the data between the two users. If they are at the remote locations, then the data can be easily communicated between them. Now, the next is the security. So as we have already discussed, now so in the case of the Unix, it will has three provisions that will be used for protection of the data. So the first thing is that it will assign username or login ID and passwords to each user, and it will ensure that no one has access to the work of an individual users. Okay, as we have discussed, in the case of Unix, it is a multi users, so more than one or user they can access the machine. Okay, so what it will do, by assigning a username and the password, it will isolate all the users from the other. Okay, now there is a second scenario. Second scenario is that it will assign some privileges to the users. Okay, that is at the file level. What it will do, it will give the privileges to the users like read, write, and the execute permissions. Okay, and these permissions will decide who can access the particular files. Okay, and how these permissions can be categorized? They can be categorized as a user, group, or the other. Okay, so as we have already discussed, who is the user? User is basically the owner of the file, and only one user have the permissions to access the file, and the owner of the file is one who will created the file. Okay, or the owner will transfer its ownership to some other person. Okay, so these are the user. The second thing is the group. Okay, so what basically group is? Group is any number of members. Okay, and the group of persons, they will share the same data. Okay, and the members of the group, they will have the same group ID, but they have different user ID. Okay, and the last one is the others. So other members are anyone who neither owns the group or neither they are the owner of the file. Okay, and the last thing is the file encryption. So the file encryption will basically encode the files into some unreadable format. Okay, so if someone will able to access the file, okay, so he can't be able to read it, or he can't be able to execute that particular file. Okay, and the last point is the portability. So portability means that the files, they can be ported to any computer systems. Okay, with some minimum adaptations that will basically suit some given architecture of the systems. Okay, or it can be machine independent actually. No. So these are some of the assignment questions that you have to complete. Okay, and these are the learning outcomes that you have given some basic information about the operating systems, you know about the Unix architecture, and some set of commands. So these are some of the reference books I have shared in the slides. So if you have any queries regarding to that, you can ask me. Okay, so this is the end of the today's session. Good day and be safe.